The history of empires and our world is often shrouded in mysteries that have come to be known as being lost to time. Despite this, however, a number of accounts detailing ancient technologies as well as surviving artifacts of such technologies continue to baffle researchers in the modern day, of whom attempt to piece together these lost stories of history. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over a number of these ancient past technologies and why scientists still cannot seem to replicate them today. The heat ray used by Archimedes. On the hit TV show known as Mythbusters, the hosts of the show, known as Adam and Jamie, began the episode with a request on recreating the mythical heat ray that had been used by Archimedes to fight back an entire military during his day. According to the legend, back in 212 BC, an inventor and philosopher of the time known as Archimedes was at the shores of a massive siege between his own people and a number of Roman warships during the siege of Syracuse. Made entirely aware that his people were both outnumbered and outmatched, Archimedes began constructing what was referred to as a burning glass that would be able to burn the Roman warships and protect his people. A number of the legends and different variations exist that claim he used one large mirror to reflect the direct sunlight, whereas others claim he used the shields of 70 soldiers to redirect the light at the warships to catch them on fire. This legend has often been challenged by a number of researchers from around the world, claiming that such a story is completely fabricated and that the physics of the encounter don't seem to add up. This led to the TV show Mythbusters attempting to recreate the event, only to find that they were completely unable to ignite a model ship at all with the use of reflective shields of the recreation of a death ray using mirrors as outlined by Archimedes. Regardless of these finds, many still believe that the event had occurred at one time, given the fact that the legend had been recorded by both Greek and Roman historians recounting the event. Considering the fact that these historians only wrote down verifiable events, it leads many to believe that perhaps Archimedes constructed a whole different form of technology to assist with his death ray that led to the end of the Roman siege at Syracuse. The formation of Damascus steel. One of the most popular methods of weapon construction used in history and even into the modern day is that of weapons forged from Damascus steel. Damascus steel is an easy to recognize metal as it undergoes special procedures to create the strengthened steel that allows the metal to take a wavy and watery form as it is layered and compounded throughout the piece. What many people are not aware of, however, is that the modern-day procedures of forming Damascus steel are not nearly equivalent to that of the procedures used in the ancient past. According to the written accounts of ancient blacksmiths, it would take more than 3 years to build a sword using Damascus steel, as it would be folded more than 300 times and hammered with a number of different force amounts to allow the steel to be as strong as it could possibly be during its time. Despite a number of weapons surviving this period, it is impossible for scientists to know what the exact heat treatments were that were applied throughout its creation. Though many might believe that knowledge of such a procedure is relevant to the formation of Damascus steel, researchers have discovered that it was these heating and cooling techniques that caused the formation of carbon nanotubes to form throughout the weapon that would allow it to feel lighter and be made stronger throughout. Today, the procedures that are known are only applicable to the metals and steels we use in the modern day, and many of the techniques to create the wavy patterns in the metal is merely that of decoration and not the same as used in the Damascus steel of the ancient times. To this day, researchers are still attempting to uncover the exact procedure used that many believe has been and always will be completely lost to time. The Greek military and Greek fire. Back in 672 AD, there began to be recordings and accounts of the Eastern Roman Empire. The Byzantine Empire, using what was later named the Greek Fire to win a number of naval battles that had previously left their empire completely vulnerable to a number of sieges and naval attacks. This Greek fire had a number of strange characteristics that researchers today are using to try to understand what could have been the formula for the compounds used to create the primitive flamethrower used to burn ships approaching the lands of the Byzantine Empire. According to the written accounts, the Byzantine Empire was capable of using a hose-like mechanism described as ending in a pointed cap that would pressurize and shoot out a chemical compound that was capable of igniting when making contact with water. This led to the Byzantine Empire winning a number of strategic naval encounters by merely igniting enemy ships on fire whenever they had tried to approach too closely. Additionally, historians on both sides of the fight recounted that the fire was capable of burning even when floating atop the water, a nearly impossible to understand trait of fire at the time of its occurrence. Today, researchers believe that the compound was made out of some form of naphtha or quicklime, but that the exact chemical compound is unknown in the modern day. The exact mechanism for the pressurized hose has also been lost to the written accounts. Despite being one of the most effective naval weapons of its time, even working to end a number of sieges that allowed the Byzantine Empire to survive several more decades, the weapon and chemical compound was such a closely guarded secret that eventually the weapon was lost to time. Viking Sunstone Compass. It is no secret that the Scandinavians were seen as the greatest seafarers of their time, responsible for some of the most incredible navigation breakthroughs and land discoveries that many other nations refused to even attempt at the height of their power. The cause for their seafaring skills have often been a mystery, but several researchers now believe that, with the use of crystals, the ancient Viking people were capable of navigating the ocean and snow-filled overcast days, even when the sun and sky were not visible to be used for navigation. Referred to as sunstones, the Vikings described using a number of small crystals to assist with navigation even when the sun was not visible in the sky. The way this was accomplished was by holding the crystal up to the sky and moving the crystal around until it would show the position of the sun. Historians had first believed that the stories explaining the use of the sunstone as navigation were merely allegorical and had no real bearing in navigation of any kind, as no surviving instances of these sunstones are around today. Interestingly enough, however, researchers have begun to realize that by using polarizing crystals, it is possible to find the location of the sun even when the sky is overcast, and even when the sun is behind the horizon. This has led researchers believing that perhaps the sunstones were these special crystalline structures, but that any evidence to how they would work is still being researched and understood in the modern day. Flexible Roman glass. There have been plenty of inventions made by the Roman Empire that seem to have been lost to history, despite being of a nature that seems superior to our modern-day inventions. One of these incredible lost inventions of the Roman Empire was that of flexible Roman glass. According to the stories written down by the Roman historian Pliny the Elder in his works known as Natural History, there was a renowned glassmaker that was capable of making a flexible Roman glass that was incapable of shattering and was able to bend only to resume back to its normal shape after being bent. The account details that the recipe was discovered during the reign of the Roman Emperor Tiberius Caesar, of whom shut down the workshop of the glassmaker to prevent other glassblowers and prices of precious minerals from collapsing by the introduction of this new material and technique. Because of this, the technology would be lost to time. Today, the only comparable technique to that of unbreakable glass is that of plastic used in the modern day. It could very well be that the glassmaker used plastic to have formed bottles, given the fact that the exact procedure and recipe has been lost to time. The mystery of Roman concrete. Though many will claim that our modern-day concrete is equivalent to that of ancient Roman concrete, educated researchers are well aware of the lost technology and how our modern-day construction efforts pale in comparison to that of ancient Rome. For reasons not entirely known, Roman concrete was capable of setting and hardening even when underwater, as well as the fact that the concrete structures were far more stable and capable of support stress than modern-day concrete, of which requires the addition of rebar to handle tensile strength to prevent the concrete from breaking down. The use of this concrete allowed the Roman Empire to accomplish engineering feats that rival even the greatest construction efforts of the modern day, and to have formed structures millennia ago that will more than outlast any modern-day constructions fitted with the greatest techniques in building. In fact, researchers estimate that if humans were to disappear, the last standing man-made structures would be that of the ancient pyramids of Giza and those made using Roman concrete. But what do you all think of these past technologies that have been lost to time that scientists still can't seem to replicate to this day? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.